Morning, everyone. I'm back in the Uwharrie National Forest doing a little gold prospecting this morning. I'm actually prospecting. I've been up in this area about 3 or 4 years ago. I've come up in here twice. I found some flower gold and I found some clays, but I've learned a lot about prospecting since then, so I'm hoping maybe I can do a little bit better. I've got my watch started to see how far I hike in and hike around today exploring. It's been about, I've got a Garmin watch, so I'm about 0.6 miles in. It'll take me another 5 minutes to get to the creek. It's downhill behind me. But I wanted to show you this. I first explored or looked at this area on LiDAR, and I saw a big pit, which is right here in front of me. And I'll show you, it's pretty interesting. And for those folks who are familiar with Uwharrie but haven't seen this yet, you might find it interesting. So here it is, a day of prospecting today. Don't anticipate getting a lot of gold, but I got over my gram I wanted for March, so I'm taking a little bit of extra time to prospect. You can see from my videos, I've been getting like 0.1, 0.15, 0.2 on a good day prospecting, and I'd really like to find a spot where I can get like a 1/4 gram or better. They're hard to come by, so gotta walk a ways, hopefully discover a big patch of it today. But here's what's interesting about this spot. On the walk in, you can see these big quartz boulders which are visible from the trail I took in, if you look uphill a little bit right before the creek. But here's one of the older original pits from the old-timer gold prospectors. And I just noticed on this big piece of quartz right there, it looks like there's a drill hole. And the miners blasted out, so that's interesting. You can see there's some big boulders back there. Some big boulders back there, and then there's a big old, this is basically what's left of the hilltop, I believe. And I'm gonna walk up this way where there's the big pit that you can see on LiDAR. And then as you move around this way, this is where the old timers dumped all their tailings. And you can see this is on a ridge and it drops off pretty sharply there, but I'm gonna show you that here in a minute too. So let's just walk over here. Grab my shovel. So I guess the old timers saw this big old outcropping of quartz over there, and they dug it out, and they dug out this big pit. So that's pretty interesting. A lot of quartz up there. But what I'm going to show you next is there's been more recent diggers up here. And I believe they're quartz hunters. They're hunting for quartz, because look at that side over there. That's pretty freshly dug, like last year or something. There's leaves all in it, so it's probably last year. And as we walk this way towards the tailings pile where the old timers dumped it, you're going to see a lot of activity. People have been digging up here. When I came up here 3 or 4 years ago, there was diggings here too, but it was just this pit right here. And you can see this little ledge. This ledge was the original pit and went from like there to there. And whoever was digging here set their quartz crystals, seconds or whatever, that they didn't want to carry out. They set them up along here, so I grabbed them all. They're like fist-sized pieces of clear faceted quartz, like chunks, not terminated or anything. But look at all this recent workings. This is a more recent hole. And there's some really recent activity up there. Another one there. Down there is recent, and all of this in particular, that section wasn't here 2 or 3 years ago. It looks like it winds around right to over there. So I'm gonna poke around here for a few minutes, see if I can't find some nice pieces of quartz or some of their leftovers that they didn't want to carry out that are pretty nice and clear. You can see if I walk to the edge over there, maybe I'll just go ahead and do that real quick just to show you what the old tailings pile looks like. Yeah, you can see the old tailings pile. They just dumped it down this side of the bluff and went all the way down to the creek. There's some big boulders down there they probably dumped off too, but look at all this dirt. I mean, somebody must be finding something because they are really digging it out. And I'm not sure, I know it's legal to collect rocks out of Uwharrie, but I'm not sure this kind of excavation is really supposed to be allowed, but there's a nice trench. Might shave down the sides of that a little bit, see if anything pops out, but I was hoping to see a nice piece sitting on the edge, but I don't see anything at the moment. Oh, this might be the nicest piece. Sort of translucent, but I mean the pieces that were here before were crystal clear. So that's it for now. I'll post from the creek later. All right, you can see I already have a handful of quartz. Some of these are terminated. Some of them, like the terminator part, just got broke off or wherever it was hooked on to the main. There's some different colored stuff. I like this one because it's iron stained or iron embedded. It was next to the bedrock and it's translucent, but it's an odd color. And I saw this big piece that was dug out and set to the side. Look at those big flat facets on there. But I don't know if it broke off this side or that side maybe was against the bedrock. But too big for me to carry home. Here's that fresh digging part, and it looks like this is a pile of seconds they set up here. That one's kind of crystalline looking, not super clear though, but they forgot their trowel. There's a couple of interesting pieces. You see the red iron staining, yellow staining on the rock, maybe coming from the bedrock. Here's also a piece, really pretty mineralized, attached to bedrock. Looks like iron in there also. If I could carry a piece out, crush it up, look for gold, it'd probably be this piece right here, at least from what I've heard. More mineralized, more likely the gold is, but I don't know that they really had much luck up in here because they didn't dig all that much out or continue digging a mine shaft or anything, so this might not be a gold-bearing quartz deposit. There's another big quartz rock with a hole drilled in it. I just put my thumb up there. It looks like that's about 1.5 inches diameter to me. So they blasted it out. Here's a big piece of quartz, and that funny glowing, yellow glowing section there caught my eye for a second. And another mineralized piece next to it. You can see that there, but it looks like a big old chunk of pyrite in the... I washed it off to see it better, but it's like a big old chunk of pyrite to me in that. Let me get that to shine. Just going to show you what the bedrock looks like up on this side of the hill. It's real pretty, kind of yellow, banded. And when this erodes into little pebbles downstream, they're like little round pebbles. It looks just like a gold flake or nugget. And so you have to sort of pinch them and break them in half to verify that it's not gold. But it's kind of a neat outcropping. This is kind of an unusual sight. I've never seen this before. It looks like a patch of wild strawberries with 3 leaves like that, and a nice healthy little patch. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check and see what those are. All right, time for a lunch break. I'm on a little bit of an inside bend here, and I found these 2 pieces of magnetite just right around this big rock here. I tested them with my magnet. This one's really mildly. So magnetics, I probably won't take that one home, but this one's pretty good. So I'll probably take that one home. And I was going to show you, I got the crystals that I found all washed up. There's a couple of faces there. This one's got some crystallinity to it. Some faces. This piece right here is extremely clear. If you can see down through it. But that's really nice and clear. This sticks up. It looks like it's kind of a point, but not really. I mean, there's a face. Here's a smaller version of that heavily mineralized stuff, so I did want to take a piece of that home. And here's some clearer pieces. Kind of see the rocks through them. Some crystalline faces on there. This one's not too bad. It's got like 3 or 4 straight sides on it and almost goes to a tip, but it looks like it was broken off other material there. Kind of translucent piece. You can see the rock through it. This is a nice crystal that almost gets to a point. These top of this piece is kind of quartzy. And this was the largest, clearest piece I could find. It doesn't have any crystal faces to it. Another mineralized piece, iron scoring on it, and there's some nice crystals right there actually. This one right here is fairly clear looking. And the last piece I probably won't keep. This one, it's just had some of that iron on it. Nothing particular about it. I probably won't keep that one. Okay, so this is a little stretch of decomposing bedrock all the way down through here, but it gets like softer looking and more flaky down this way. I just dug a test pan right here and got about 2 shovelfuls worth of those flaky decomposing bedrock, like what's right there. And there wasn't much material in the pan. It was like only a quarter of a pan, but I got 2 nice flakes. Biggest piece of the day right there. So you can see the bank has eroded out pretty recently here, and there's a layer of rocks and clay on top of this decomposing bedrock. This decomposing bedrock kind of goes up underneath that, so I dug a couple of shovelfuls right at the edge where the bedrock wouldn't come up, so I just dig in the clays, and it had like an inch of gravels in it, and the rest was more clays. But I got about 3 shovelfuls right there and right there. We got a pretty nice piece out. Oh, know if that's quite a picker or not. It might not be. It might be like 15 milligrams maybe. But hey, just for poking around, that's a nice piece. It adds to my total for an exploring day. So here's that material I'm getting right on top of the bedrock. It's sands and clays, and I got some orange and some pale gray. So it makes for really like a light tan colored plume out the pan. Okay, so according to my watch, I've spent almost 8 hours out here prospecting today. I hiked in actually about 3/4 of a mile to the creek, so that'll be 1.5 miles total. So I went up and down the creek for about probably half a mile down, half a mile back up, for makes 2.5 miles today. I found that quartz at the beginning, and then I found some magnetite, so my backpack was really heavy. Here's the way up of the gold I got exploring yesterday. Lay it out here. 0.06, and let me see if I can. 0.049. So this this extra large frake's about 0.011, 0.065, about 0.014. Another thing that was interesting on that creek is I didn't have much black sands or even the small magnetites. The only minerals I really saw was just a couple of small pieces of fresh, shiny pyrite. That was, the small stuff in the pan. But on the creek itself, I did find magnetite, these large chunks of magnetic material. And there's 2 different types. There's this bouldery rock, this bouldery magnetite type. You can see it's pretty strongly magnetic. The magnet's not falling off. And these typically look like this, like they're kind of angular, but the corners are worn off and a little bit rust colored. But these are really strongly magnetic, and it's the strongest. I find magnetite different places, but this is the strongest I've ever found it on this creek. And so that's the one type of magnetite. The other type is like a magnetic rhyolite stone. It's very, very magnetic as well. I don't know if you hear that ting sound that rhyolite makes. But here's 3 examples of very, very strong magnetic versus a strong neodymium magnet. But anyway, I carried these out as well as the quartz I found that day. And I've got a little collection going. I like this stuff. Just interesting.